Okay, so for my final reflection on my field experience hours and my observations, I thought I would just talk about the experience in general. I really am so grateful that this course occurred at the time it did for me, especially with the recent school shootings. It just seemed like really applicable to our daily lives, and I really enjoyed the text as well. But I thought I would just focus on a few moments I had in the last few weeks. I just finished my field hours yesterday, actually, and I actually had a really great conversation with some of the kids yesterday. In my teaching demonstration, I presented that I did the lesson on pen pals, and they wrote their draft. And so yesterday they were typing their drafts up and adding pictures and making them look nice. Because apparently the teacher thought they needed to look more professional before she sent them out, whatever. And so I got to help proofread a lot of the letters, and I was so just blown away by some of the things they said. Some of the things they said the teacher had to even censor out, which I'm not positive I would have done. But the kids really wanted the kids in Alaska to know what happens in Chicago and what happens here. And even though Alaska is obviously part of the United States and the kids knew that, they were kind of like, I wonder if they know what's going on around us. And, I'm sure they do, but there is like a certain amount of detachment that they must have because they're so far away. And so some of the kids wrote about the current events. Some of the kids wrote about Trump. One student wrote, I wish I lived in Alaska so I could be far away from this town or from this city. And it honestly was shocking to me because I've done my hours at Hamilton, which is in Lakeview and is really nice and like seems like a wealthy area. And the school is pretty wealthy. I mean, every room has flat screen TV and a smart board. But it kind of showed to me that like no matter where you are, you're impacted by the things that are going on, even if it doesn't seem like they affect you. And these kids were so knowledgeable about that. And I don't think that if I was in third grade and I was writing pen pals, I don't think I would have even known who the president is. And maybe I did, but it was crazy. And another thing, the teacher when we were on the carpet, the teacher was kind of helping them brainstorm like more things to write because a lot of students wrote like only about school, and she was like, what else can we write about yourself and your family? And so many of the kids were like, can I tell them my parents are divorced? Can I tell them I know someone who doesn't have a green card and is scared they're gonna get sent away, and things like that. And the teacher kind of was shocked as well, and we both like kind of looked at each other and were like, okay, like I mean, if you want to tell them that, like this, we really wanted to emphasize that like that is their letter. And I honestly just like, I came home yesterday and was like thinking to myself, what would I write in a letter to someone about where I live and about how the environment affects me? And something else that I really realized in this course and in my field hours is like, you can meet content standards as long as you're doing meaningful work. And something that I think is hard for me and like we learn in the College of Ed is not starting with the standard and not teaching to the standard 100% of the time, because there's so many more important things than just like the 5 Common Core state standards for your grade. And it was good for me to see social studies in action just because I haven't at all before this course in an elementary school. I mean, since I was in elementary school. And there was such a wide variety of information that I saw, and to see how the teacher selected the information was just like really crazy. And this really was my favorite methods course I've taken, because I feel like social studies now can be integrated in every content or in every subject. And I honestly don't know why you wouldn't teach social studies. And obviously I'm like very naive and a pre-service teacher, and so I don't have a lot of experience. But to me, it seems like this is like the core of so many kids' lives, especially right now. Why wouldn't you emphasize that every day. And I know a lot of times schools emphasize math and reading, and that's like all the kids get to do, but it seems like this is so important to teach for teaching kids how to be human beings. And I mean, what's more important than that, right? Another thing that I really just like took away from this course and my observations was that every kid is like on their own path, and especially in social studies, assessment can be really challenging. My cooperating teacher doesn't really do a lot of formal assessments in social studies. It's mostly informal, which I really thought like worked well for her and her group of kids. And I just like look back in my social studies experience, and I don't really remember a lot of elementary social studies. I remember learning about, I'm from Michigan. I remember learning about like the history of Detroit and stuff like that. But I mean, in middle school and high school, well, no, more so middle school, all of our social studies assessment was multiple choice about dates, about people, you know, obviously like important sometimes, like you should know when the American Revolution happened, but it seemed like there were a lot more important things that she was assessing them on, and she gave kids a lot of choice. Something, I don't know if I mentioned this in class, but a really, really cool project that she did for the Southeast region was that kids could be a tourist or someone hosting tourists, or like a hotel or a travel agent sort of, about like the Southeast region. So she's let them choose what they wanted and what they wanted to do with it. And so some kids were like, I'm going to be pretending I'm a tourist and I'm going to make an itinerary. And, you know, it was just like a schedule. Like she was like, pretend you're going to be there a week, figure out what you want to do every day, and then like about why it's important. So kids made these itineraries. Some kids made just like posters and like put pictures as if it was like a scrapbook. So they would have like day 1, day 2 with pictures of them or of what they were going to visit, which was really, really cool. And then she also, some of the kids that wanted to be the travel agents or people organizing tours, made like brochures, which honestly, I was like, I don't know how you knew how to make this. They did it on their computers, and it was beautiful. And so many of them did like selling the Southeast region or focusing on a certain landmark. A lot of them chose the Everglades to focus on, and like what you can do there, why it's important, how we can protect it. And it was just really cool because it made them feel as if they were in the Southeast region or had been there. So many of the kids in the classroom, you know, hadn't been there, or they had said been to Disney World, which isn't really, you know, the Southeast region. I mean, it is in the Southeast region, but